Hong Kong. The teenage son of a prominent human rights lawyer in China was blocked from leaving the country Monday after the police told him he posed a potential threat to national security while abroad, his father said. The travel ban against Bao Zhouxian, 18, was seen by his family and human rights groups as retaliation against his mother, Wang Yu. Ms. Wang was a commercial lawyer who became involved in politically delicate cases, and was the first person targeted 2 years ago in a widespread crackdown on human rights lawyers in China. Mr. Bao had been planning to travel in Japan for 2 weeks to celebrate having successfully taken a test to study abroad, according to his father, Bao Longjun. The family had recently been allowed to return to Beijing after spending 2 years under strict surveillance in the Chinese autonomous region of Inner Mongolia. The authorities had returned the teenager's passport, and he was able to obtain a visa to go to Japan. But on Monday he was stopped and held while passing through immigration at the Tianjin airport. The corners of his passport were also cut, rendering it invalid. They said there was a possibility my son could harm state security, the older Mr. Bao said. He's 18, how could he harm national security? Phone calls to the Ministry of Public Security Bureau in Inner Mongolia responsible for the teenager's case rang unanswered Tuesday afternoon. In 2015, Mr. Bao and his son were stopped at the Beijing airport and prevented from flying to Australia, where the son planned to attend high school. That same night, the authorities broke down the door to the family's apartment and detained Ms. Wang. She detailed that experience for a chapter in a new book, The People's Republic of the Disappeared, Stories from Inside China's System for Enforced Disappearances. Later that year, uniformed officers snatched the son from a guest house in Myanmar, where he had fled in an effort to eventually make his way to the United States. Ms. Wang and her husband were formally arrested in 2016. She was accused of subversion of state power, a charge that carries a possible life sentence, and Mr. Bao, a trainee lawyer, was accused of a lesser charge of inciting subversion of state power. Last year, Ms. Wang and her husband were released after she gave a televised confession, disavowing an international award she had won and saying she had been put up to pursue human rights cases by overseas groups. Friends said they did not believe the confession was genuine. Blocking the couple's son from traveling shows the pressure they remain under even after their release, said Patrick Poon, a Hong Kong-based researcher for Amnesty International. It's incomprehensible and ridiculous how a teenager preparing to study overseas would be accused of possibly endangering national security, he wrote by email. It's obvious that it's a retaliation against his parents' human rights work, in particular for showing their support to Wang Yu's lawyer Li Yuhan, who has been detained since October 9. Zhou Fengsuo, a 1989 Tiananmen protest organizer who now lives in the United States, said he believed the authorities were still concerned about what Ms.